The MAYVINCI Code cracked. Floyd Mayweather is TBE. Now, two ends of the spectrum. There's hardly fans that are in the middle. Some people adore and love Floyd Mayweather, and some people dislike Floyd Mayweather, saying he's a cherry picker, he's a pussy, this and this and that. There's other people that say he's in the top 5 in the in the history of boxing. In my brief years of existence, I soak up boxing knowledge. I box myself. For me, I try to be objective. I don't play these race games, which I understand why it exists. So I'm not shitting on nobody. So I understand where people are coming from and why they dislike opponents, because I just soak shit up. I just try to remain neutral because this shit doesn't affect me. I don't let it affect me. My favorite fighters in order is Juan Manuel Marquez, because he gave nothing but great fights. Next, I'll give it to Manny Pacquiao because I just loved the way he fought. I didn't care if it was a catchweight. I'm not a big fan of catchweights, but I just want to see the best fights happen when other fighters are in their prime. Blank period. You understand? That's just what I want to see. And then Floyd Mayweather is third on my list because of everything that he's done. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather is better than Marquez and Pacquiao, but I'm just saying, as a fan, that's how my list goes. All I've known is Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez. Now, I'm like a sponge. I just soak up every boxing opinion, every outlet out there. I watch our guys, read the newspapers, look at past videos, try to hear people's perspective, older cats giving me their wisdom of who was TBE and whatnot. And I came down to a few conclusions. So stay to the whole video. It might be lengthy, and just hear how it goes. So this is the MAYVINCI Code being cracked wide open. Now, all I've known is Floyd Mayweather. Understand this. So I don't know. I watched fights, Sugar Ray Leonard, Felix Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya, all those. Tommy Hearns, Hagler, try to catch a little bit of Ray Robinson, Jake LaMotta, all these, Ricardo Finito Lopez. I try to watch everything that I possibly can, right? And I came down to these conclusions. But with that said, I gotta pay homage to Floyd Mayweather, because everything that he's done has been very cerebral. It's been very calculated. Every opponent that he's selected, every opponent that he's fought, has always been a calculated chess move. He says so himself. I'm playing chess where these other fighters are playing checkers. That can be saying that I'm the best boxer out there and I'm fighting puncher's chances, and that's the weapon that I have to take away from him. And Floyd Mayweather did it better than I've ever seen, and hence why he's undefeated, 49-0. So is TBE or he's not? I'm not too sure. There's fans at the both end of the spectrums saying yes, he's TBE. Some people will say though he's not. He cherry picked this and this and that. So I'm just like the mitigator, the arbiter, trying to come down to a conclusion, and there's a few conclusions that came through. But anyway, before that, I gotta pay homage to Floyd Mayweather. One could say Floyd Mayweather's success, right, was destined to happen. That was his destiny. He just needed to fulfill it. He comes from generations of boxers. His two uncles, Jeff and Roger Mayweather, and his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., all pretty good fighters. Now, Floyd from a very early age knew how to box. You understand? He started learning the mechanics. He was in the training rooms as a young boy. He's seen everything. So this molded and shaped who Floyd Mayweather is. You understand? With hard work and dedication, and for 30 plus years, he dedicated to the sport of boxing, right? And he knew how to play the stage as well as any actor can possibly play in a movie role. Floyd knew how to play that media, the cameras, be obnoxious to make that much money, because he's all about money. At first, he started off as pretty boy, but now his name changed to money. So it was apparent what he was going after was that money. So he thought, I need to surround myself with the best people that'll get me to being that billion-dollar boxer, the first ever, the pay-per-view king, and squash all the numbers. And Floyd did this and played it better than Muhammad Ali. In terms of business, Floyd understood it to a T, and he's number one as a prize fighter. He may not be TBE as the sport of like the boxing integrity and fighting fighters at their primes, but when it came down to making those Benjamins, Floyd Mayweather stands alone by a wide margin. You understand? Over Marciano, Ali, Duran, Chavez, over everyone. Maybe those fighters are more man of a fighter than Floyd, but when it comes down to being a prize fighter, Floyd reigns at number one, at almost cashing out at $1 billion. How did Floyd become TBE? The way I see it, in my mind's eye, he's one of a kind. He's busted his ass for many years, for decades, and remained undefeated. Obviously, he's 49-0. He also beat all the prize fighters out there, right? For him to be himself the prize fighter. It was a passing of the torch when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, you understand? the most lucrative one. Floyd became the most lucrative one, right? He took all the prize fighters out there and beat them convincingly. The ones he didn't beat convincingly, like Castillo or let's say Maidana, he rematched them and then beat them definitively. You understand? Floyd also, this is how it became TBE as well. Floyd also brought the Olympic style of boxing, hit and not get hit, and he utilized that point system to make a defense of why he always won all his fights. Most prize fighters, most of them, not all of them, but the majority of them are usually heavy-handed fighters with a bunch of knockouts on the resume. Floyd Mayweather had fragile hands, so he had to use a different mentality, right? Showboating or being very defensive because he had weak hands, you can say. They were fractured and this and that. Always had hand problems. You can watch previous fights, whether it's Castillo or Gotti. He goes, I was trying to go for the knockdown, but I just couldn't. My hand started to hurt and stuff like that. Right? So Floyd brought the Olympic style with him, the scoring system of hit and not get hit, and he played it off to a T. Look, Oscar de la Hoya, when he fought Felix Trinidad, I thought Oscar was winning in the last 3 rounds. I don't know if he punched himself out, but basically he was circling around like Floyd would do in the last 3 rounds because he feels like he was beating Felix, and then they gave it a decision to Felix Trinidad. So that's why I say most prize fighters are knockout artists. You understand? So anyway, Floyd remained undefeated all those years, beating all the prize fighters, all of them. You understand? He did not beat pure boxers like himself. He just beat all the prize fighters, the puncher's chance, the fan-friendly fighters like Pacquiao, like Marquez, like Maidana, like all these other fighters, right? Just the tip of my tongue. And he beat all of them to beat the #1 prize fighter. Floyd also took the Mexican dates, right? Cinco de Mayo and September 14, which is another reason why he had to select a lot of Latino fighters like Guerrero, like Victor Ortiz, to fulfill those dates so he can attract the Mexican audience. You understand? He needed to attract those audience because the black folk was going to always support Floyd. Now he needed the brown folk, and he also needed the white folk. You know what I'm saying? So Floyd, again, was the best. He knew how to play the stage and the media to a T to make everybody either love him or hate him, and that's how he generated the views, because views is money, viewership, subscriptions, all that shit, right? This is Floyd. Fucking genius. Anyway, with this, he divided a lot of fans. There was always scrutiny. Everybody was in the YouTube hoping to watch what Floyd would say next, what his next move. He would put fighters on tilt, like Amir Khan, hoping to get that money, like Manny Pacquiao. All this shit Floyd was doing just to, incentivize the most money and capitalize the most that he possibly can. Again, very genius of him and his team. Maybe it was cherry picking, maybe, but it was very genius because there's always points of view, and Floyd understood that he needed to be a winner, and he did it with power and patience and a position of power to do what he wanted to do. Floyd waited for the perfect timing. He remained hungry. He had his killer instinct. He poised the control. Dude, it's incredible what Floyd was able to do, right? He is one of a kind. I believe this wholeheartedly. He is big, strong, fast, with cat-like reflexes, right? There's not a lot of fighter out there. If we want to be Frankenstein and pick Amir Khan's speed with Chavez Jr.'s chin, with Marcos Maidana's aggression, with Juan Manuel Marquez counterpunching. I mean, that's all Floyd Mayweather embedded in one. You understand? We can be Frankenstein and try to take the best attributes of all the boxers to pin up against one Floyd Mayweather. So this is how you know Floyd Mayweather is the complete boxer. There's only a few like him, and Floyd is definitely one. And right now we may not appreciate him, but when there's a generation, like in 10 years from now or 20 years from now, and we're still watching boxing, and there's other fighters that are coming up and they're making a case them to be like Floyd, Floyd will always be among the elites that will be remembered as like throwing them up against there, and we will try to compare generations, and Floyd will be on that list. Floyd is a cerebral fighter. He mastered every punch he can throw. Don't fear the man that throws 1 million punches. Fear the man who throws that punch 1 million times. That was Floyd, and that was that jab, and that was that counter right hand, that step back and boom over the top of your jab. That was Floyd. Now, you may be able to outwork Floyd, throw more punches than him, but it'll make you miss the majority of them. But when Floyd throws his one shot, he will hit you, period. He's like over 50% accuracy, and he makes other fighters get like 20% or less in the punches that they throw. So you may throw 1,000, but you're only going to land like 200, maybe 300 at best. Anyway, Floyd is one of the best. He had the ability to change game plans and adapt to his opponents in the first early rounds, and that was it. Those fighters were exposed. Floyd found that wrinkle, that loophole, and he played it off. He adapted to changing circumstances relatively well. He let himself corralled in the ropes, and people were trying to tee off him, hit him, but he just rolled it, and then he got out of dodge. Let yourself punch out, suck you with a jab to the stomach, suck the air out of you, and then boom, you was done. Right, and Floyd did this with marginal power. He didn't have exceptional sky-high power. He just did it with perfect timing, great counter ability, and just mind games. Floyd did this, man. It wasn't that you thought you had Floyd trapped in the ropes, but Floyd made sure that you were trapped in the ropes with him. He flipped the table on you, and that's what a lot of fighters don't think. You may think that you have him on the ropes. In fact, he's got you to the ropes. He reeled you in, and he's gonna roll it off, make you miss all your shots, and then hit you with counters. And Floyd did this, and the enemy stood no chance. He lost before he got into the ring. This is the intelligence of Floyd, you understand? Now, I won't get to his famous footwork or anything of that, right? Or his output of punches. All I'm saying, if he's not the GOAT, he definitely will be talked about. Here comes why he may not be the best ever. Now, I hope you guys stay intact. It's been very interesting, but now we got to break it down. And we're going to break down his resume. Now, this could reinforce, depends on what your viewpoint is, this can reinforce how he's TBE because he's a winner, or maybe this can reinforce why you dislike him because he might have cherry-picked his way to success. It just depends what your end of the spectrum. Again, I'm going to take the midpoint. Now, we know most athletes in America tend to be African-American athletes, black athletes. It doesn't matter. They're good physique. They're bigger than life. In basketball, in baseball, in football, you name it, it's usually an African-American in that position or a black fighter in that position. They're the ones with records and stuff like that. In boxing, it's no different. You know what I'm saying? They're just great athletes. There's something that ticks them, that drives them to be the best. I don't know if it's an ego thing. I don't know if it's an insecurity thing, a failure of losing. But they just know how to be winners. They know how to motivate themselves. It's crazy. Floyd is one of those athletes, right? One of those greats. Now, which leads me to this. When Floyd became a prize fighter, he beat Oscar De La Hoya, right? A passing of the torch. So he took the Mexican dates. He needed mostly Latino fighters or action-packed superstars like Ricky Hand, like Diego Castillo, like Manny Pacquiao to make as much money, right? Or what we can call that style, Mexican style. Now, I refuse to use Mexican style because Mike Tyson is not Mexican style. Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson. I don't like putting heavy hitters or come forward fighters all in, the Mexican style. I know Triple G and his team coined it, but a white guy can be Mexican style, not necessarily he can be Mexican. So he's just an aggressive fighter, come forward, action-packed knockout star. That's the way I'm going to call it, right? So that's the market that Floyd understood that he needed to get. He needed to fight Latino fighters and those Mexican dates, or else he wasn't going to generate the Latino fighters because those are two dates revered in Mexico, right? So Floyd mastered beating that style of fighter, that puncher's chance. Floyd mastered beating that style, which is that macho come forward style, right? I want your blood. That other opponent, Maidana, Castillo, Gotti, they're out for blood. They want your will. They want to squash it and they want to basically pop your cherry. That's what those come for. It's a very masochistic type of thing, like trying to inflict their will up upon you. I remember there was a quote from Timothy Bradley. He goes, "What do you think I'm busting my ass in the gym for? I save it up. I put myself in pain, and when it comes down to fighting, that opponent is gonna receive all that pain that I suffered in the training camp. He's gonna receive that for those 36 minutes when I have to share those 12 rounds with him." That's basically the Latino or that Mexican style, right? Anyway, they're out for blood. There's cases like Finito Lopez or Miguel Vasquez in Mexico that don't fight like that, but a lot of that Latino style, they're out for blood. They want your will. They take pride in that, el orgullo. Anyway, Floyd understood that style to a T. It worked for his defense and his favor. He took the aggression out of the fighter and countered him to death by 1 million cuts. So, if you look at Floyd's resume of 49 victories, around 30 of those fighters are Latinos. You understand? They have like a Latino background or Mexican background or something like that. Or they speak the Spanish dialect. Or they have that style that come forward. 30 out of those 49. That's almost like, 70%. So here goes the list. or 5 things why Floyd Mayweather may not necessarily beat TBE. And it's because he didn't really face a style that can beat him. Now, a fighter, there's an adage in boxing that says a fighter has a puncher's chance. While this fighter may be the favorite 70-30, that fighter, or 90-10, that fighter always has a puncher's chance. But because I've said Floyd Mayweather is one of a kind, and there's not many out there like him, he's that good where that puncher's chance doesn't exist. That fighter lost before he got in the ring because Floyd Mayweather, not only was he much more prepared, but he's simply one of a kind. So that puncher's chance was not there. Floyd Mayweather's undefeated career because he beat all those punchers, right? He didn't really fight pure boxers, let's say like a Lara. So for example, understand that Floyd Mayweather is an Olympian. He got robbed and he got a bronze medal. He should have definitely beat that dude and should have been at least a silver or a gold. But he only lost, and this was like, I don't know, like 30 years ago. And he's only lost once, and it was to an Olympian. So it only makes sense that an Olympian fighter would beat Floyd Mayweather, or even have a good chance of beating Floyd Mayweather. A puncher like Castillo, a come forward like Maidana, can win a few rounds, maybe 5, make it a close fight, and makes it warrant of a rematch. But that's it. That's as close as you're gonna ever get. Or you can beat a fighter like Mosley or Oscar De La Hoya and almost either knock down Floyd Mayweather because you have the skill, you can hit and not get hit, or you're an Olympian and have a split decision loss with Floyd, right? So again, it's an Olympian style of fighter that may only pose a threat because they come from the same school of thought of Floyd Mayweather, and it's pure boxing, hit and not get hit. Which leads me to this: out of the 49 opponents that Floyd Mayweather has fought, 30 of them are Latino fighters, or they have a Latino descent in them. You know what I'm saying? Or their heritage is Latino or Spanish speaking. 49 out of the 30. Now I don't have a calculator to calculate that shit, but that's like above, like that's like 65%, 63%. Now, here goes. So I came down to these things, right? Floyd did not fight pure boxers like himself. He never fought an Erislandy Lara or something like him, right? He fought Zab Judah, right? And Zab Judah knocked him down with a flash knockdown, but then there was an altercation. Zab got choked out, Floyd pitched a shutout. He fought Shane Mosley and Oscar, but we can know when Manny Pacquiao or even Canelo fought those guys. Those were guys already out of their primes. Floyd nevertheless did that, but Floyd fought them when they had momentum, which is completely different, right? But they weren't at their best. They were just looking for the cash money, if you can say. Now, Floyd did not fight pure boxers like himself, right? Or an Olympian. He fought all the prize fighters out there. Again, those action come forward fighters, the knockout artists. But just because you're a prize fighter doesn't mean you're the best. It just means that you're sell and you're fan friendly. For example, Lara, Paul Williams, Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade, you know, the list goes on and on. They're pure boxers. Maybe not Williams, but they're pure boxers, Lara and Andrade and stuff like that. But they don't sell, you understand? Or Guillermo Rigondeaux, they're pure boxers. That style is the only style, a chess versus chess match, that is going to trouble Floyd Mayweather, or is going to make a thinking man think. Or you can make a thinking man hesitate. And then that split hesitation, you can land that over right hand like Shane Mosley did in the second round and almost had Floyd Mayweather out cold, right? So a pure boxer is only going to be able to challenge Floyd, let alone think like a thinking man. You understand? Second, Floyd did not fight African fighters, right? Now, I've already said why. They're usually the best athletes in every sport. They come with quick, fast, quick feet. They're strong. There's a handful out there like Lara, like Rigondeaux and stuff like that. Now, I know they're in different weights, but there could have been fighters in the 147 that weren't known that Floyd didn't fight, right? Because Floyd is a prize fighter. He's already established. He doesn't need to fight that. I understand. But he's not TBE. Because of beating Latino fighters doesn't mean you're the best. That just means you're the best at beating Latino fighters. Anyway, Floyd did not beat other fighters at their primes, like Oscar, like Shane Mosley, and these guys like Pacquiao, like Cotto, when they were, you know, at their primes. Understand that Floyd is either a bit older or around the same age as Shane, Oscar, Cotto, and Pacquiao. Guys that have given him tough fights, right? Floyd fought all of them and beat them, but it was in his terms. Again, this is the cerebral calculation mind of Floyd Mayweather. He understood this. He goes, I don't care. It's better to have them on my resume than not to have them at all. Through calculation and through a position of power, he waited 6 years to make sure everything was in his favor. Floyd made a killing off his undefeated record. Yeah, right. He's never lost, right? So it only makes sense for him to fight undefeated fighters, right? Because he cherishes that unblemished record. It would only make sense for him to fight undefeated fighters. If you look at his 49 victories, he's only faced 3 fighters that are undefeated. Basically, which means that I already told you why an undefeated record means. That means your cherry has never been pocked, your ego's at an all-time high, you're sky high, you feel unfallible, you feel immortal, you feel like a boxing god. Your chins, your legs are that much stronger, you train that much harder because you never lost before, right? Just like Floyd, he's undefeated. Nobody set the blueprint. Well, he only set the blueprint on 3 fighters. He only fought 3 undefeated fighters: Canelo, Chico Corrales, and Ricky Hand. What do those 3 fighters have in common? They're come forward punching fighters, right? Action-packed, fan-friendly. They're not pure boxers. If Oscar De La Hoya or Shane Mosley were undefeated when Floyd fought him, it would have been a whole complete different story because they come from the same mentality of a thinking man's game, right? 3 fighters that come forward, action-packed, not even pure boxers. They're boxers, and they're good ones, and legends, but they're not pure boxers like Floyd. Again, all these things you have to put in consideration. Floyd didn't face Olympians, African or black fighters, defensive fighters like himself, undefeated fighters, or that black style, right? He didn't face that black code, that black style of fighting. Floyd didn't face these fighters. He mostly faced Mexican fighters, Latino fighters, my bad. He faced Latino, brown fighters, and he beat them, right? That's Floyd all in one, right? The only way to beat Floyd, if there's ever a way, maybe there's a generation out here in boxing that just cannot beat Floyd in this era. This was Floyd's era, right? But he never faced a Sugar Ray Leonard, a Sugar Ray Robinson, because those fighters only exist in a certain era, right? Floyd Mayweather was that. There wasn't another fighter out there in this era unless Floyd had to jump up too much in weight. You understand? Floyd didn't face that type of style fighter that can really challenge him. But at the end, this can either reinforce or take away if Floyd is TB or he's not. But this is the MAYVINCI code cracked in 20 minutes or so. I wish I could have made it 5. I definitely could make it 5, but if you want me to break it down again, it's very simple. I put the list down. Floyd, in my opinion, is TBE. Whether he's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, is a different thing, right? That's always going to be subjective. That will always change over time. But to say he's one of the best ever, that is damn correct. He is definitely one of the best ever. Is he the best ever? You have to go to a boxing historian. But as a fan perspective, he's going to be one of the best ever. Is he the GOAT? That's to be up into interpretation.